I think he gave a lot of people a lot of money, and so it's a bit embarrassing to a lot of people that they all took his money. And then I think there's this question of, will they give it back?
Hey guys, welcome back to Library of Wealth. Today we have the latest interview with Michael Saylor, giving us an update on the collapse of FTX, as well as new information on the inside dealings that went on behind the scenes. Just yesterday, it was reported that SBF was arrested on charges of fraud, which is not surprising, seeing how the bankruptcy of FTX has played out over the past few weeks. Saylor will also discuss the crypto market and how the fraud inside FTX is causing investors to panic. Let's get right into the latest interview with Michael Saylor as he talks about the new details of Sam Bankman-Fried's former empire and how he maneuvered his assets and defrauded thousands of users and investors. If you enjoy the content we do here, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's get right into the video.
The fascinating thing here is every organization, is the media, the academics, and the politicians, are they all going to give the money back to the bankruptcy trustee to go to the depositors or not, which is the right thing to do or not? So I think, if you just got a lot of money from someone and then you find out that they stole it, if the message is they stole the money, then that's a fraudulent conveyance, and you were paid off with stolen money. Maybe you got to give it back. That's a challenge. So I think that a lot of people are going to be slow to come to that conclusion because they've got a conflict of interest. But I don't think he's going to get away with it. I think that the wheels of justice are slow, but they do grind forward. You can't very well steal $15 billion to $20 billion from so many different constituencies and not be held responsible for it. He stole billions and billions of dollars from innocent people. Yeah, he should be in jail a long time. As I said, every type of fraud imaginable. That the complication is half the frauds, like the securities fraud and the like, half the frauds are harder to assert because he was an offshore jurisdiction. Like, Sam wouldn't have actually gotten this big if he had been operating in New York City under the US law, because nothing that he did is legal. You can't, it's not legal to issue a token. It's not legal to trade against your customers. It's not legal to give 20x leverage. It's not legal to, to trade without a license. So he couldn't have gotten there in a mature environment and a rule of law. He went to a sunny place for shady people, maybe, like
Bahamas.
They literally searched every jurisdiction in the world. I mean, he was in Hong Kong and it was illegal to do what he was doing in Hong Kong. They were in Singapore, it was illegal to do what he was doing in Singapore. They just tripped every which way. It would be illegal to do anything that they were doing in Europe. It's illegal to do anything that they're doing. You have to assume that it was pretty much illegal to do anything that he was doing anywhere except for a small handful of places. And then even given that, the stuff he disclosed that he was doing is only half of what he was doing. The other half of the stuff that he didn't disclose, that was not legal in the Bahamas either.
During Bankman-Fried's press interviews over the last few weeks, he has spun a new narrative, one in which he was simply an inexperienced and novice businessman who was out of his depth and didn't know what he was doing. He claims he didn't know what was happening at the businesses he founded, and most people can see now that isn't the case, and Sam is now being held accountable for his role in the company's failure.
Do you think he would have got caught if Bitcoin would have kept going and the crypto market would have kept going up to 100,000? Like, what's the famous phrase?
Yeah,
like,
he would have been caught because he was counterfeiting money, and then he was recklessly pledging it in order to borrow more money and spending it.
Bernie Madoff, the greatest Ponzi schemer ever, he was operating for decades, and it was only until 2008, the financial collapse, and there was bank runs, people needed money, did finally his Ponzi scheme get exposed. Meaning if crypto would have kept going and going and going, could it possibly have been decades before Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX were exposed?
No, because they were too reckless. I mean, Madoff was extremely buttoned down, controlled, right? Very deliberate, and actually, in the greater scheme of things, conservative. Madoff didn't put his name on a stadium. He didn't splash. Did Madoff give $1 billion to politicians? Did Madoff ever put out a press release saying, I'm going to give? What happens when a person with no money 24 months ago puts out a press release saying, I'm going to give $1 billion to the Democrats in the next 2 years? He came in, he bought every piece of real estate. You know, they said, well, you know, here's this penthouse. They want 40, offer him 32. It's like, it doesn't matter, it's a rounding error, give him 36 or whatever. He was just splashing money around like it was free.
No, but Michael, you're in the crypto world, right? Pat and I are, I mean, maybe we own some Bitcoin, Ethereum.
Yeah.
But I feel like, and rightfully so, there's a lot of Monday morning quarterback about Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. Well, it turns out illegal. Turns out this. Were there stories circulating a year ago, 2 years ago, during all the fraud, not the aftermath?
Look, the stuff in the domain a year ago was Sam makes $10 million a week at Alameda. Alameda is a money machine that generates $10 million a week or $500 million a year, and that's his cash cow. And the exchange is just the exchange. And then people couldn't quite figure out the rest, except for the fact that obvious, you know, all these tokens are air tokens that are being manipulated offshore, right? So the belief was they were good traders and they were manipulating air tokens and running an unregulated exchange. The truth, of course, that comes out now is they weren't good traders. They were goofballs. And really, the machine that made this all work, the brilliance of it is to generate $10 billion worth of fake collateral and then borrow $10 billion.
It's crazy to me.
Well, I mean, three things. I generate $10 billion in fake collateral. I take $10 billion of money out of my bank from my real customers. I show fake fraudulent accounting statements to investors and get them to give me billions more. And then I pledge the token collateral to other crypto hedge funds and get them to give me billions of loans. So you could say that last part, that was, I took advantage of some other crypto bros that were also a bit, risk addicted, like, too aggressive. And I took advantage of venture capitalists that threw caution to the wind, that weren't paying attention. But, and the first part is, I attracted all those billions by just telling people I'll give them extreme leverage and let them trade these tokens and make it cheap. Sam would buy BlockFi and then pressure them to put their assets on his exchange. And so he bought a lot of things, and when he bought the things, he would pressure the people to put their assets on his exchange or trade with him. So I'm issuing equity, like the equity in FTX, was worth, Sam would say, oh, it's a $32 billion valuation. You remember reading that in Forbes and Fortune? Okay, I've got a $32 billion company. I'm going to give you $1 billion worth of FTX equity. And then I've got my shadow equity, $10 billion worth of FTT. At one point, FTT was worth $15 billion. So they generated these two equity tokens, the people that are based on what? Opaque financials that are fraudulent, right? If I have fraudulent financials and I crank up the two equity tokens, then I can use them to do acquisitions. You're rolling the entire thing forward.
At least $8 billion in customer funds are missing, reportedly used to backstop billions in losses at Alameda Research, the hedge fund SBF also founded. Both of his companies are now bankrupt with billions of dollars worth of debt on the books. Bankman-Fried admitted he had a bad month, but denied committing fraud at his crypto exchange. The collapse of FTX blindsided investors, customers, venture capitalists, and Wall Street alike. Bankman-Fried could face a host of potential charges, civil and criminal, as well as private lawsuits from millions of FTX creditors. We'll be keeping an eye on this. What do you think about Michael Saylor's latest interview on the crash of FTX? And how Bitcoin and the crypto market will be affected? Comment down below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.